Imagine trying to conquer a city where the streets are so incredibly steep and like so twisted and narrow that the geography itself basically acts as a vertical weapon against you.
Oh, it's brutal.
Right. You are wearing this heavy, unyielding armor, the sun is just beating down on you, and every single step upward feels like an absolute battle.
Yeah, and you're just exhausted before you even swing a sword.
Exactly. Well, today, hundreds of thousands of travelers willingly pay good money to subject themselves to this exact same, brutal, unforgiving inclines. And honestly, we are totally two of those crazy people.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the hills of Lisbon demand a certain level of respect, but the reward you get for conquering them is just, well, it's unlike anything else in Europe.
Welcome to this deep dive on the travel podcast by ExcursionPass. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You're sitting there, maybe planning your itinerary, looking at these breathtaking pictures of Lisbon's legendary towering hills, and thinking to yourself,
Do I really want to do this?
right, do I really want to spend 3 hours walking up a literal mountain on my vacation? We anticipate that objection all the time.
All the time. People are terrified of those hills.
They really are. But our mission today is to break down everything you need to know about conquering the ancient cobblestone heart of Portugal, specifically the Alfama district and the Castle of St. George.
Yeah, we are pulling from some really deep research and real traveler accounts on 2 highly rated guided walking tours.
Right, so we're looking at the ultra-curated ExcursionPass small group tour and the Lisboa Authentica tour you'll find on TripAdvisor. We have metaphorically walked every single inch of these paths.
We've felt the burn in our calves, folks.
Oh yeah, we've soaked in every panoramic view, so we can tell you exactly how to step right into the 12th century without, breaking an unexpected sweat.
Well, maybe a little sweat. But exactly, because Lisbon is not a city, you can just passively observe from behind the tinted glass of some air-conditioned tour bus. It is a city you really have to feel under your boots. It's a highly tactile, vertical experience. And today, we are going to compare the distinct ways you can tackle that verticality.
We're going to look at the exact sights you'll encounter, the wildly entertaining guides who lead the way,
They are so fun.
and the actual physical toll on your body, plus the specific price points, which range from 23 euros and 30 cents to 30 euros.
So you know exactly what you were getting into before you even click book.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before you can even think about climbing those hills, you have to know where your journey begins.
Yeah, the starting line.
And the starting lines for these 2 tours are fundamentally different, which, completely changes the opening vibe of your morning.
It really does.
The ExcursionPass tour has you meeting right by the statue in front of the Church of St. Anthony. It's very classic, very central. But the Lisboa Authentica tour starts at a place called Casa dos Bicos, which houses the José Saramago Foundation on Rua dos Bacalheiros. And our sources specifically describe this building as, get this, the house covered in spikes.
I mean, it is a spectacularly striking visual to start your morning with. Imagine walking up to a building where the entire facade is textured with these protruding diamond-shaped stones.
They're like actual spikes.
Yeah, it literally looks like the building is wearing a coat of medieval armor.
Yeah.
And that's not just an aesthetic choice,
Right.
It reflects the deep architectural history of the Portuguese Renaissance, specifically the Manueline style, which often incorporated these maritime and defensive motifs.
Oh, wow.
It immediately sets a tone for you as a traveler. You realize very quickly that you aren't just in some modern, cosmopolitan European capital.
You are standing in a place heavily defined by a need for defense.
Exactly.
It's an incredible building to just stand and stare at. But here is my pushback on both of these starting locations.
Well, here we go.
I get the romance of tracing the history from the ground floor up, but practically speaking, why start all the way down by a spiky house or a church when the main attraction, like the absolute crown jewel of the tour, the Castle of St. George, is all the way at the very top of the hill?
Because that's the point of the journey.
But aren't we just punishing ourselves right out of the gate? It feels a little like starting an action movie at the climax instead of building up the story,
Well,
Like, why not just take a taxi to the top, enjoy the castle while you have fresh legs, and then comfortably walk down? Aren't you going to be too exhausted to actually enjoy the castle when you finally reach it?
what's fascinating here is that the physical climb isn't just an obstacle, it is the narrative of the city itself.
Okay, explain that.
If you start at the top and just casually stroll downward, you are essentially reading a history book backward. By starting at the bottom, at places like Casa dos Bicos, you are literally tracing the medieval origins of Lisbon.
Oh, so you're following the timeline?
Exactly. You are walking the exact same path as the early settlements.
Yeah.
When you walk uphill, you're absorbing the layers of local traditions and military history chronologically. The expert guides use that intense upward trajectory to basically build the story toward the brutal siege of 1147.
Right, which is when King Afonso I and a group of passing crusaders managed to finally take the city from the Moors who had held it for centuries.
Precisely. The Moors had built this virtually impenetrable fortress at the highest vantage point, which is what is now the Castle of St. George.
Ah.
And they designed the surrounding Alfama district with these intentionally chaotic, winding streets. It's like a medieval spiderweb designed to trap and confuse invading armies.
So they wanted you to get lost and tired?
Yes. So the resistance at the hill, that burning in your legs, that is part of the historical context. The Crusaders had to fight their way up that exact same punishing incline.
Oh, wow, yeah.
If you just take a cab to the top, you completely lose the physical understanding of why that castle was such a formidable stronghold in the first place.
Okay, so we have to earn the view. I actually really love that perspective. It makes the sweat feel, I don't know, a lot more noble.
It does.
But speaking of earning it, I have to point out a hilarious anomaly in our source material that we found while researching this.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
We're talking strictly about walking tours today. 3 hours on your own 2 feet. But if you look at the reviews for the Lisboa Authentica tour on TripAdvisor, there is this whole cluster of travelers who have accidentally left glowing reviews for an e-bike tour.
It is so fun.
They are raving about zipping around the city effortlessly with guides named Bruno, Mar, and Claudio.
I saw that. It's a classic internet platform glitch. You have these heartfelt, detailed reviews talking about how the electric motors made the legendary hills completely effortless.
Right.
Mixed right in with people talking about heavy, strenuous walking.
So just to be crystal clear to you listening right now, unless you brought your own personal motor strapped to your back, there is absolutely no e-bike saving you on this specific Alfama walking tour.
None at all.
You might be huffing and puffing up a cobblestone alley and see Bruno zooming by with a group of e-bikers looking completely relaxed, but you are going to be on foot.
And, honestly, you want to be on foot.
And really, even with the hills.
Yeah, because these alleyways are so incredibly tight and steep, riding a bike often means focusing intensely on just not crashing into a wall or a pedestrian.
That's a good point.
Walking allows you to actually notice the micro details of the Alfama district that you would absolutely blur right past on a bike. The intricate, colorful azuleo tiles on the buildings, the smell of salted cod drifting from a tiny corner cafe, the sudden, unexpected viewpoints that just open up between 2 rooftops.
Which brings up a really important logistical point. Because these streets are essentially a medieval spiderweb, the physical size of the group you are traveling with completely dictates whether you can even stop to look at those details without, like, blocking the entire street.
Exactly. The spatial constraints of the neighborhood make group size a massive factor.
Here's where it gets really interesting, the group dynamics. The ExcursionPass tour explicitly caps their groups at a maximum of 8 people. That is tiny.
Very intimate.
Right. Meanwhile, the Lisboa Authentica tour allows up to 15 people, and their age range is literally listed as ages 1 to 99.
That's quite the range.
I know. Now, I always compare a 15-person tour to a classroom field trip, whereas an 8-person tour is more like a VIP double date. But does it really matter? If I'm sweating up a steep hill in the Lisbon sun, does the difference of 7 extra people actually change how I experience the city?
It absolutely does, and it comes down to mobility and intimacy.
Okay.
In a narrow Alfama street, a 15-person group takes up a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
If the guide stops to point out a specific tile mural, the people in the back might not be able to hear or see it clearly.
Oh, yeah, you'd be peering over people's shoulders.
Exactly. Furthermore, when your age range is 1 to 99, the pace have to accommodate a massive variance in physical ability. The guide is constantly doing mental math, trying to keep the group together.
Herding cats, basically.
Pretty much. An 8-person tour, however, allows for highly flexible pacing. If the small group wants to linger at a specific viewpoint, the guide can adapt the narrative seamlessly without losing half the crowd to distraction.
That makes total sense. And reading through these accounts from travelers, you realize these guides aren't just walking maps reciting dates. They are basically crowd psychologists.
They really are.
Let's talk about the physical reality first, because we want you to be fully prepared for this. But a reviewer named Patrick S. put it very bluntly. He said this tour is not for the faint of heart.
He is not wrong.
He specifically advised bringing very comfortable shoes and a couple of bottles of water, noting that it is a significant, sustained climb to the top. Another reviewer, Eric H., mentioned that it's a lot of uphill time, though the downhill part goes very quickly.
Which is exactly why the psychological skill of the guide is paramount. We saw a review praising a guide named Eleanor for this exact reason.
Oh, yeah, Eleanor.
She was incredibly sensitive to the slow-walking needs of the elderly guests in her group. She managed to cover a massive amount of ground without making anyone feel rushed or exhausted.
That is a true skill.
It really is.
Yeah.
She knew exactly when to pause, point out an interesting architectural detail, and let everyone catch their breath under the guise of a history lesson.
And then you have guides like Beatrice, who reviewers noted used her incredible sense of humor to make the 3 hours absolutely fly by. When your calves are burning, a good laugh is genuinely the best distraction.
Totally.
But there is one guide who keeps popping up in the notes, and I find him fascinating. Andre.
Oh, Andre seems to be a legend in these reviews.
Truly. A reviewer named Tom G. mentioned that Andre has this encyclopedic brain just packed with Portuguese history. Tom couldn't figure out how Andre kept it all in his head.
Wow.
But the best part is, Andre apparently gets genuinely offended, or at least very disappointed, if the group doesn't interrogate him with enough questions.
That is so great. That tells you everything you need to know about the passion driving these experiences.
Yeah.
They aren't just hitting play on a recorded script, you know?
Right, they want a dialogue.
Exactly. They are eager to engage, to debate, and to explore the nuances of the culture. And as another reviewer, Agath, pointed out, a great guide doesn't just march you from monument to monument.
Right.
They take you to the hidden, off-the-beaten-path spots within Alfama. They might show you a tiny courtyard where fado music, the soulful, melancholic traditional music of Portugal, was born among the working-class sailors.
And you would completely walk past that courtyard if you were just wandering alone using a blue dot on your phone's map.
Oh, absolutely. You never know it was there.
It's so true. We always joke that getting lost in a European city is deeply romantic, right up until you realize you've walked in a circle for an hour, you're sweating, and you missed the one historical site you actually came to see.
Yep, the romance fades quickly.
These guides are curating the chaos of these ancient streets for you.
They provide a historical and physical safety net. But eventually, all that climbing, all that careful pacing by the guides, and all that storytelling leads you to the top. It leads to the grand payoff.
Yes. You have put in the work, you've walked up from the spiky armor of Casa dos Picos, you've survived the inclines, you've woven through the spider web of Alfama, and now you are looking at the heavy-hitting sites.
The big ones.
We are talking about the Lisbon Cathedral, also known as the Sede de Lisboa. We are talking about the Portas do Sol viewpoints, which offer those iconic, sweeping, terracotta-roofed views over the sparkling Tagus River.
It's just gorgeous.
You are seeing the famous yellow tram 28 screeching by on the steep tracks, and you are finally exploring the Castelo de Es Jorge neighborhood.
It is the quintessential Lisbon experience. You are standing where kings and conquerors stood. But this is also where we need to look very closely at the fine print of what you were actually paying for.
Oh, definitely.
Because the logistics and inclusions differ significantly between the two tours. And it's incredibly important to set the right expectations before you pull out your credit card.
Oh, this is the part that always trips people up. So let's lay it out as clearly as possible. Both of these tours offer a professional, knowledgeable guide, and they both cover local taxes and insurance in their base price.
Right.
Both also offer an excellent free cancellation policy up to 24 hours or 1 day before the tour begins, which gives you great flexibility if your travel plans change. But the inclusions at the actual monuments, like the tangible tickets, are where they heavily diverge.
Yeah, let's start with the TripAdvisor Lisboa Authentica tour, which costs €23.30 per adult. This tour explicitly includes entry and a guided tour inside the Lisbon Cathedral.
Okay.
This is significant because the cathedral itself is fascinating. It looks almost like a fortress with its heavy twin bell towers, largely because it was built immediately after that 1147 siege to project Christian power.
Wow, so it's a statement building.
Exactly. However, it is crucial to note, and a reviewer named Jack explicitly confirmed this in his feedback, that the entrance fee to the Castle of St. George itself is not included.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You explore the neighborhood, you get the amazing viewpoints, but you do not get a ticket to walk the inner castle walls.
Okay, and then we have the ExcursionPass tour, which is €30 for adults and €15 for children. Their listing is very upfront. Castle entrance fees are not included.
Right.
However, what they do boldly advertise is that they provide skip-the-line assistance for the castle.
That is correct.
Wait, I need to stop you there. I have to push back on this pricing model.
I had a feeling you would.
So I am paying €30 for a tour that is literally centered around the Castle of St. George, but I still have to buy a completely separate ticket to actually get into the castle.
Yes.
That feels a bit like paying a hefty cover charge at a nightclub just for the privilege of standing in the VIP line to buy your own expensive drinks. Why wouldn't they just include the ticket price in the tour?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it drastically changes how you perceive the value of what you're buying. You have to remember, you aren't paying 23 or 30 euros for a piece of paper that gets you past a turnstile.
Okay.
You are paying for the profound architectural and historical context. The true value is understanding the military significance of the castle area before you ever step foot inside.
So it's about making the stones mean something when you finally do go in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say you just buy a ticket online and walk into the medieval fortress alone.
Yeah.
What do you see? You see old stone walls, you see some archaeological ruins.
Right.
It's pretty, the view is nice, but it's largely static. But when you spend 3 hours walking up the hill with a guide like Andre, learning about the early Moorish settlements, the defensive strategy, the steep streets, and the bloody reality of the 1147 siege, your entire perspective shifts.
That makes sense.
By the time you reach the castle gates, those stone walls are suddenly alive with history. You understand exactly why the walls are placed where they are. You look at the archaeological ruins and understand you are looking at the remnants of an Islamic palace.
I see. The context is the product, not the entry ticket. And honestly, let's not undervalue that skip-the-line assistance mentioned in the ExcursionPass tour.
Oh, it's huge.
Anyone who has been to Lisbon in the peak of summer when it's 90 degrees outside knows that the line for the Castle of St. George can wrap all the way around the block.
Oh, it is brutal.
It will test the absolute limits of human patience. Having a seasoned guide who can navigate that logistics puzzle for you, pointing you to the exact right queue, or helping secure the tickets efficiently while you rest in the shade is worth its weight in gold.
It really is. It allows you to maintain the emotional momentum of the morning. You don't lose the magic of that incredible 3-hour historical buildup by spending the next hour standing silently and sweating in a chaotic ticket queue. You transition smoothly from the story of the siege right into the fortress itself.
So, what does this all mean for you, the traveler? It means that whether you opt for the ultra-intimate 8-person ExcursionPass walk, where you can easily weave through the narrow alleys, or you go with the slightly larger, potentially more diverse 15-person Lisboa Authentica experience with its included cathedral entry, you are getting a hyper-curated, deeply immersive journey through Lisbon's medieval past.
Absolutely.
You are trading a little bit of physical exertion, okay, maybe a lot of physical exertion, for a massive amount of cultural and historical payoff. Just remember the golden rules we learned today from the people who walk the path before you. Wear your absolute most comfortable walking shoes.
Please.
Bring plenty of water. And if you get Andre as a guide, for goodness sake, please ask the man some questions.
It is excellent advice, and it will save your feet. But as you prepare for your trip, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on.
Okay, lay it on us.
This raises an important question about how we as modern travelers interact with history. When you eventually walk these incredibly steep, winding cobblestone streets of the Alfama district, you will inevitably stop at places like Portas do Sol to admire the beautiful sweeping views of the Tagus River.
Oh, absolutely. It's picture perfect.
With the sun shining and fado music playing softly in the distance, it feels incredibly romantic.
It does.
But I want you to mentally strip away the cafes and the tourists. Imagine being a soldier during the brutal siege of 1147.
Oh, man.
Imagine wearing heavy, unyielding medieval armor, carrying heavy weaponry, and trying to physically fight your way up those exact same unforgiving inclines while being actively fired upon from above.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Right. The very geography that makes Lisbon so beautifully charming to you on a walking tour today is the exact same geography that made it an impenetrable, terrifying fortress 900 years ago. The beauty was born from a need for brutal defense. So as you stand there catching your breath, drinking your water, ask yourself, does knowing how relentlessly hard it was to conquer this hill change the way you look at the beautiful view from the top?